go ahead and call us to order and declare that we have a quorum of 7 members present and welcome you to our meeting. And before I read this, I want to point out that we have Amanda Green, who will be sworn in at our next meeting because we actually have to canvass the election tomorrow based on the timeframes in state law. So with that, welcome to this meeting of the College Station Independent School Board of Trustees. We were elected at large to represent the interests of our community and our state in educating our students. Our mission for our students in this district is success each life, each day, each hour. We adhere to all pertinent laws, policies, and procedures in posting agendas and conducting our meetings. The detailed agenda information was made available to us at least 72 hours in advance, and we have all come to this meeting informed and prepared. We have just completed a workshop meeting where we heard reports and discussed much of the information needed to make decisions in either this meeting or in upcoming meetings. This is a meeting of the 7 trustees in a public setting rather than a public meeting. As such, public comment is included on the agenda at a specific time and requires us to listen rather than take action so as to abide by the Open Meetings Act. We are pleased that you have taken time this evening to join us. We are very proud of this school district and we thank you for your interest in and support of our students. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Members of the board, we'll begin this meeting as we do all of our regular meetings with our pledges of allegiance to the American flag, the Texas flag, and our moment of silence. Here to lead us this evening are 4 great students, 2 from College Hills Elementary and 2 from Pebble Creek Elementary. And if I could have Blair Grande, principal of Pebble Creek, and Josh Hatfield, principal of College Hills, please come up and introduce our guest this evening.
Put you on each side. So you're a lot taller than me, Dr. Ely. Okay. We have Emma Tish, 4th grade. She loves to read. She is part of our student council. She's part of our kindness club. Emma is helpful to others, and she has a puppy named Spencer. We are so glad she has come to help us this evening. And then we have Hudson Jackson, 3rd grade. He is respectful, kind, and a great friend to everyone. He's in the Scrabble club. He loves chess. He's in chess club, and he likes scary things.
All right.
Excuse me, bud. I'm going to introduce them too.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm Josh Hatfield, proud principal of College Hills Elementary School. And this evening with me, I have Michaela. And Michaela at school is one of our 4th grade leaders. And she loves writing more than anything because she enjoys creating her own stories about many different topics. And so she really enjoys that. And outside of school, she loves cheerleading at football games and being with her family. And we also have Lola with us. And Lola is in our dual language program. And she really enjoys reading and getting into good books. And she also has a lot of family who live in Italy. And so she actually is trilingual with English, Spanish, and Italian. And she definitely loves being with her family outside of school, as well as reading lots of interesting stories as well. So thank you, guys.
Start with the pledge, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start with you guys. I'm going to make it go down low. Okay, we're going to say please stand.
Stand for the pledge.
Please stand for the pledge.
Come over here, Emma, so they can hear you. Okay, you ready? Go ahead and start.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now for the Texas flag. I pledge the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Now for the moment of silence. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, we're going to have it here with the board, and we'll take the pictures.
Y'all come stand in front of them. We won't bite you, I promise.
Moms and dads, if you want to move over and take pictures, that's good. If you want to get up. Good. All right. Mr. Harris, that's all of our recognitions this evening.
Okay, as they're exiting, I would like to point out the artwork that's on the back wall that's been provided by students from College Hills Elementary, Greens Prairie Elementary, Pebble Creek Elementary, and Rock Prairie Elementary. As you can see, we have some talented artists. So if any of you are here, thank you for the work. That takes us to the consent agenda, which is items G, J5, J6 through J13. Does anyone want to remove any items from the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Board reports.
I have an Education Foundation report that Teresa Benden so kindly wrote for me, so I'm going to read it. Grant Patrol was a huge success this past Wednesday, November 6th. Close to 100 Education Foundation board members, donors, CSHS, AMCHS, drumlines, cheerleaders, and mascots helped award 43 grants totaling $156,012.
Yep.
Star Educator Program. Don't forget to honor your child's teachers, school staff with a Star Educator Award sponsored by Light Pediatric Dentistry. For a minimum $10 donation to the Education Foundation, your honoree will receive recognition in the Eagle, a Star Educator pin, and a congratulatory card. Flyers will be coming home, or make your donation online at givetokids.csisd.org. That's all I have.
Not a committee report, but I need to apologize. I have an event at A&M tonight that I need to get to, so I'll be leaving early. And for you government students that are here, you picked the right meeting to come to, and I hate that I have to miss some of this because this should be a short one. So well done back there. But again, I really apologize. This is something I do the second Tuesday of the month, and usually our meetings are the third Tuesday of the month. So,
Any other reports? Okay.
I'll just say we had a DESC meeting. It was a lot of work. I don't really remember what we did. We're getting ready to start talking about the calendar.
We'll be meeting tomorrow.
We'll be meeting tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
So
Again.
We'll have a good time.
Great. Superintendent report, Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. I just want to talk about a few things. I also want to echo your congratulations and welcome to Mrs. Amanda Green and board member-elect for Place 2. And just to talk a little bit about things that are coming up, we will have a meeting tomorrow at noon to canvass the election results. And then our next regularly scheduled meeting, which will be on Tuesday, the third Tuesday this time, Tuesday, December the 18th, we will both swear in Mr. Nugent and Mrs. Green and allow them to take their seats here, and then we'll say very nice things about Mrs. Barrett as it will be her last meeting with us for about 7 to 10 minutes or so of that meeting. And we look forward to celebrating your years of service on the board next month at our meeting. And so that's kind of some of the things that will be upcoming with that. I do want to talk about Thursday of this week, we will be having our next meeting of the community-based accountability community group that we have working through our CBAS system. Thanks to Molly Perry and her leadership in that, we've got some had a couple really good meetings, and looking forward to what we can develop as a community and bring to you as a school board as our best thinking right now in regards to community-based accountability. So that process is continuing to move forward. And last thing, I would be remiss if I didn't remind everybody that we will have the entire week of Thanksgiving off coming next week. So we will every facility will be closed because most everybody has done their required amount of hours of comp time to be able to have those Monday and Tuesday off of next week. So enjoy the week break next week for Thanksgiving, and we'll be coming back on that Monday afterwards. This year we'll have 4 weeks of school before we have the winter Christmas break. So some of the things that are upcoming. And that's my report.
Great, thank you. Hearing of citizens, do we have any cards? Okay. So that takes us to H1, receive report on career and technical education program. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. As you know, we come 6 meetings a year to talk about some of the great programs that are going on in College Station ISD, and we try to hit all of our programs once in a 3-year period. And this month, we have the great pleasure of hearing from Karen Ferguson, our Director of Career and Technical Education, to talk about the programs that we have in place for high school students and indeed for middle school students to learn about job skills and to get the type of skills they need to not only excel at the post-secondary level, but excel in the workforce. I think you'll be pleased to see all of that goes into career and technical education in College Station ISD and the many, many opportunities that our kids in this school district have. And that's thanks to the generous support of our community and the leadership of this great board. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Karen Ferguson, our Director of Career and Technical Education. Mrs. Ferguson.
Thank you. Good evening. Mr. Harris, Dr. Ely, members of the board, I want to thank you for this opportunity to provide you with the update on the Career and Technical Education Program. The overview of the CTE program will consist of the goals of the program, a description of the program, the staffing and budget, and then program challenges and needs that we face in the CTE program. Career and Technical Education is a federal program that's governed by Carl Perkins 2006 and the State Plan of Texas. The goals of the CTE program, which are actually written and come from the state plan, is to manage the dual role, provide students with skills to manage the dual role of family member and wage earner, and also to obtain high skill, high wage, high demand occupations, or skills so that if they choose to continue on to post-secondary education, they're college ready. In 1996, the United States Department of Education created an initiative which was called the 16 Career Clusters, and this initiative was created to provide linkages among state agencies, secondary and post-secondary institutions, employers, and industry groups. And this is the list of the 16 career clusters that were established by the U.S. Department of Education. College Station ISD has 13 out of the 16 clusters in place. Based on the United States Department of Education's 16 Career Cluster Initiative, districts are required and must implement at least 3 of the career clusters, and each career cluster must have at least 1 pathway. Students should be in a coherent sequence, which means that students are taking 2 or more CTE courses for 3 or more credits. They're not just randomly taking courses, they're taking courses that are relevant, and they're going to lead to somewhere, either a pathway to college or occupation. These are the CTE career clusters that are in CSISD on the left side of the screen. These are the clusters that are at both College Station High School and A&M Consolidated High School. If you look on the right side of the screen, these are the clusters that are the differences at the high schools. A&M Consolidated, for example, has health science. It's not at College Station High School, and College Station High School has the culinary cluster, which is not at A&M Consolidated High Schools. And students can have the option to apply and transfer these programs if they choose to enter into these particular programs in their zone to the other high school. In the middle of the column, these are the clusters that are actually at both high schools, agriculture, science, and the plant pathway. Career and technical education is made up of students from the middle schools as well as the high schools. And this data is from the fall 2018 snapshot, which was the last Friday in October, so it's pretty recent data. On that date, there were 5,846 middle school and high school students enrolled. 3,277 of those students were enrolled in at least one CTE course, which is 56% of the total enrollment. Then each campus was broke down for campus enrollment, and then the CTE enrollment and what percentage CTE is of the total enrollment. This is a chart that I created. It shows the CTE cluster enrollment for each cluster. The highest one is health science, then ag, and those are the ones that are pretty much the most popular you're going to see, and they're both growing each year. When students are enrolled in CTE programs, they have the option to belong to what's called career and technical student organizations. We call them CTSOs. We have BPA, Family Consumer Science, or FCCLA, HOSA, Skills USA, and FFA. The U.S. Department of Education has said that CTSOs are a critical part of the CTE curriculum, and they do endorse these programs. CTSOs provide students with opportunities to network with other students, business and employers, to showcase the skills that they've learned in the classroom. They get to compete. It also provides them with leadership skills. We have students who hold state as well as national officers positions. So it's a great opportunity for the kids to grow and to network and also to show what they've learned in the classroom. For 2017-2018, these are the number of students we had as state and national qualifiers. One of the goals of CTE states that students should be, when they exit our programs, they should be career or college ready. And we are preparing students that if they choose to exit high school or graduate high school and go straight into a career, we're preparing them by providing them with opportunities to gain industry standard certifications. For 2017-2018, there were 329 exams taken. 313 were passed for a 95% success rate. This is a list of the certifications that we offered for 2017-2018. If you look down at the bottom, we do have some new certifications that we implemented this fall. Ag will be offering the OSHA, which is a safety certification. The construction cluster will be offering the NCCER Core, which is a safety certification, along with Carpentry 1, Microsoft Expert in the BIM class, QuickBooks and Accounting 2, and the STEM program will be offering the OSHA certification. Proposed for 2019-2020 is the Certified Medical Assistant Certification, EKG, and phlebotomy. One of the requirements of the Perkins grant that we receive is that we evaluate our programs annually. And one way that we do that, we reach out to the community or our business partners to help us to evaluate our programs. And we do that through our CTE Advisory Committee. And that committee makes recommendations on curriculum, equipment, technology. They provide input and expertise. They also help us evaluate our programs annually, and it's also to provide a link between secondary, post-secondary, and a community. We meet twice a year. We had a meeting in October, and we're scheduled to have another one in March. The benefits of being in CTE, students have the opportunity to take courses for dual credit. They also can take courses for core credits such as floral design, which is fine arts. We have several CTE courses for science credit, and we have several for math credit. They have an opportunity to earn certifications and licenses, and students exit high school, college, or career ready. College ready means that they can attend a 4-year college or 2-year college without remediation. Career ready, they have those skills and those certifications that if they want to go into an entry-level position, they have the skills to do that. The CTE staff, there are 49 teachers, 1 CTE director, and 1 administrative assistant. And this is the staff by cluster areas. This also includes science teachers because those teachers teach, they are CTE courses like anatomy and physiology, principles of technology, and advanced biotech. Those are CTE courses, but science teachers teach those. And the stars represent clusters where the teacher may teach in more than one cluster. For example, we may have a teacher that teaches business as well as programming, which is IT. The 2018-2019 budget for the Career and Technical Education Department is funded in 2 areas, local and also the Perkins grant. The local funding was $3,422,255.21, and our Perkins grant was $126,009. Program challenges that we face. Marketing of programs, it's really hard. We still have some people that call us vocational or shop, and it's kind of hard to identify who we are when we say CTE. So that is one of the challenges. I have people, and I talk to directors in many districts, and it's across the board. You have people saying, I didn't know y'all did that. I didn't know that's who y'all were. So it is a challenge to try to market the programs, to undo that vocational stigma that we used to have. So that is one of the major challenges. Also, to provide our programs with equipment and technology to meet industry standards. And we are accountable. And one of the things that we are being challenged by is on the PBMAS report, Performance-Based Monitoring Analysis System. We need to increase our non-traditional female course completion rate to ensure that we're not discriminating. And what that means is there needs to be more girls in like STEM programs or construction. That's what that is. Program needs. Increase in staff and funding to expand and implement high demand programs to meet industry needs. And what I mean by that is I sit on a lot of committees and I meet with a lot of industry people. We know in the area, I got a video today from the workforce to send out to the kids promoting manufacturing in the area. There are programs that we don't have in the district like electrical, plumbing, and HVAC that industry is calling for. They are in demand, and our programs, we don't have those. And so that's some of the needs that we have to try to get more funding so that we can try to implement those programs, get some of that equipment, get the kids trained and with those skills so that we can try to meet the demands of industry. Any questions or comments over career and technical education?
Thank you. That's
You're
a
welcome.
great report. I'm always amazed at what all you do. And I can echo the marketing piece. One of the consistent pieces of feedback we get is that we should offer more. They don't call it CTE, they call it, like you say, shop or
Shop
vocational. And then I start telling them, well, we do. Here's what all we do. And they had no idea that we actually do that. And it's, to me, some of the most impactful work we do. It's a real world application for things that students learn in the classroom, and they start to really see the value. And that's whether that's their career or if it's they're going to college. I've known several students who took the certification they got, who then got a better job so they could help pay for their school.
Exactly.
And that's a real benefit that I'm glad to see students taking advantage of. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Other thoughts?
Yeah, I do. So the marketing, though, is that with the students, for the students, or within the community?
Both. You have students that are on campuses that will come up to you their senior year and say, I didn't know y'all had this. And so it's marketing to the students as well as in the community. And so like Mr. Harris said, that's the way that I try to promote it, because we're in a community where we have the big university. And I try to promote CTE, even if you are going to a four-year college, the skills that you have, you can utilize to work your way through. For one, I worked during college, and the skills that I was in, what was called vocational classes back then, I had a part-time job that helped support myself going to college. And so that's how I try to promote it. Even if you are going to a four-year college, the skills, the certifications can be utilized to get a job, to work your way through or work while you're in college.
Yeah, my eighth grader, I have an eighth grader, so she's already started looking at all the different programs, and she's super excited. But she doesn't, she's like, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do this. And I'll give a little plug for leadership, because that's where I learned about a lot of the CTE, because that's one whole meeting where we get to walk around and see a little bit of what goes on at the schools. And it's fascinating. And the equipment that we have in this district blew me away. So I really enjoyed that day. And little plug, if everyone's interested.
And I know we do have those challenges, but I'd like to thank each of you for the support that CTE does get. I've been in several districts as a teacher, then as an administrator, and I can tell you this district supports the Cte program more than anywhere I've been. So thank you.
I got one question on, I know the Bryan ISD has been very aggressive in the last year or two with their new facilities and stuff. Has there been any, on some of the programs that we can't do, have they been reaching out to us with their, because I know they're expanding a lot of their facilities and programs? Has there been
I can talk a little bit about that. I know that they just purchased that facility, and they're trying to develop the programs that they're going to have that go into that facility. And I think they are right now in a design stage and a conversation stage. And I know I've had conversations with Dr. Whitbeck in the past, just talked about, is there a way that we can leverage this for more than just that particular district? And I don't know where where they'll ultimately end up with that. But I do appreciate Dr. Whitbeck's leadership and what they're trying to do for workforce readiness in this community, as we are as well. What we have tried to do on our campus is to make sure we've got good facilities and programs at both of our schools, and where we can't duplicate those, we put those more intensive ones on one campus or the other. We are always looking for, as Mrs. Ferguson mentioned, we do meet annually with people in the industry in this community and look at surveys of what job skills are needed and what occupations are needed in this community. So it's not just every 10 years. We're doing this on an annual basis. And that's why we come annually for new courses. I think we'll be talking with you all about new course requests just next month, and they come, a lot of them come directly out of talking with folks in industry. So
I just think with our community and our two school districts, that's a great way with sharing the resource of facilities, just the facilities alone.
The last time I met with David and I, we were at a meeting, and like Dr. Ely has spoken to the superintendent, but according to David, their director, their goal is to open their programs up to everybody in the Brazos Valley, all the districts. That's part of one of the goals that they have. So that's something we might be able to look forward to.
thank you, Mr. Schaefer.
Any other questions?
Other questions? Sir? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Takes us to I-1. Consider approval of new administrator contract as recommended by the superintendent of schools. Dr. Ely.
Mr. President, members of the board, it is a sad moment for us in College Station ISD, saying goodbye to an old friend in about a month. Mark Pantel will be retiring at the end of December after 18 plus years in College Station ISD as our Director of Purchasing. Mark has been a tremendous leader for us and has done a number of things to expand our programs, both in purchasing and warehouse and stores, and bring solid leadership to that particular area. We will miss Mark, and it will be hard to replace. So we have an opportunity to move forward. And when Mark told us that he would be retiring, we did put this position out to both internal and external candidates towards the middle to end of October. Did identify 6 of our 16 applicants to interview, and had a couple of folks really distinguish themselves. And in fact, one of them is here tonight to be recommended to be the next Director for Purchasing. And it is my pleasure to recommend Carmela Schaefer to be the next Director of Purchasing for College Station ISD. Carmela has been with the district since July of 2009 and working in our business office, first as a coordinator of accounting and then as the Assistant Director of Business. Before that, she had stints with Student Business Services at Texas A&M University, Waco Independent School District, and the City of Woodway. All of these in the business and finance accounting areas. She has done a great job not only in our business office, but supervising staff in our business office and at other stops along the way. We look forward to the work that she'll continue to build upon the great start that we have in the purchasing and warehouse department. And so it is my recommendation that the Board of Trustees of College Station ISD hire Carmela Schaefer to be the next director for purchasing for CSISD. And Carmela is here. Carmela, if you'd wave to everybody. So welcome. And that would be my recommendation.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Ely.
I'd like to make the motion, just so that nepotism out there, so we can get rumors started, that Michael Schaefer made the motion that we hire Carmela Schaefer as the Director of Purchasing, even though her name is not spelt exactly the same, but I think it's appropriate that I do that.
Fair enough.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Before we move forward, I would like to point out that we still have a quorum of 6 members at this point. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Congratulations.
Welcome, Carmela.
All right, that takes us to J1, receive annual investment report. Yeah, thank you. Receive annual investment report for fiscal year ending August 31, 2018. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. As you are aware, board policy in the Public Funds Investment Act requires us to do quarterly investment reports, which we do obviously every 3 months. And it requires us to come once a year and give you just an annual update on where we were, where we have been for the fiscal year ending August 31st, 2018. So with that report, we have Mike Martindale, Deputy Superintendent and Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Martindale.
Thank you, Dr. Ely, Mr. Harris, and board members. We'll take just a few minutes to review our end-of-year annual investment report for 17-18. I know Dr. Wesson misses my quarterly reports, so I'm going to take my time with our annual report. Also for you, Ms. Barrett. Policy CDA, local and legal, governs our investment activities and practices here locally with taxpayer funds. CDA says investment should be governed by the following objectives in order of priority. That's preservation and safety of principal. We're dealing with taxpayers' money, so it is imperative that our investments ensure the safety of our funds and principal. Liquidity, and that's to meet our, be aware of our cash flow needs, diversification, and lastly, yield on our principal. From page 6 of our annual investment report, this particular graph just kind of lays out a month by month return or interest rate we receive for the various investments that we have. The blue or the 3-month Treasury bill is the industry benchmark. The red and green, the Tex Pool and Lone Star, are two of the investment tools that we use. We don't carry much funds in those particular instruments anymore because the rates have just now gained some momentum coming into this year, but have been low the last several years. However, through last year, you can see those started the year in September 2017 at 1% and finished the year in August just shy of 2%. And our current financials, both of those are paying over 2% return. The purple is our bank. This is where we carry a majority of our funds because we get the best return there. The bank provides us 35 basis points over the Fed target rate. So every time the Fed target rate moves, then the bank moves up with that. So this is our best return on our money. It has been for the last several years, continues to be even into this year. I'll point out October, there was some movement in that particular month. I think that was probably an error on the bank, dropping us 35 basis points to the lower end of the Fed target rate. We got that corrected the next month, and actually they reconciled that and paid us at the appropriate rate for October. The banks started in September a little bit over 1.5% and finished the year right at 2.35%. And actually the target rate just moved up to end of September, 1st of October this year. So I expect the bank to move us up to a little bit over 2.6% in our next set of financials in November. This just shows us where we keep a majority of our funds. Obviously, as I just mentioned, the bank provides us the highest rate. It's the most secure with our principal, and also provides us all the liquidity or cash flow movement that we need to meet our day-to-day operations. So we keep a vast majority of our funds, 96.3% there with the bank. A little bit in Tex Pool and Lone Star really to keep those accounts open in case we do ever have the need to move funds around. This just takes the chart on the previous slide and assigns values to those. Our average amount invested in 17-18 in our bank was a little over or just shy of 139 million. Lone Star was 3.5 and Tex Pool just shy of 1.7 million. This is our year over investment earnings from 16-17 to 17-18. You can see in the last column for 16-17 total, we had $1.9 million in interest earnings. For 17-18, we finished up collectively with $2.7 million. That has to do with a couple of different factors, of course, as I've already mentioned and you saw in the chart previously. Interest rates climbed throughout the course of the year, as well as the fact that we simply are managing a larger amount of money as our district grows and our budget grows. So two factors played into that increased interest earnings. Again, the higher interest rate as well as the larger cash value we keep on hand. As I mentioned, the bank continues to be the best investment option with an interest rate of 35 base points above the Fed rate, which at the end of August was 2%. Investment officer training that's required, myself and Ms. Schaefer. I probably should have allowed Ms. Schaefer to give this presentation this evening since this would be one of her last, but the two of us are the investment officers for the district. First year in those roles require 10 years of professional development, and then 10 years? It feels like, no, I'm sorry. 10 hours the first year and 8 hours every 2 years thereafter. The next agenda item will be asking for approval as far as CDA updates. We have no recommended changes to current policy at this time. Actually, policy CDA has been updated twice in the last 2 years through TASB updates, 109 and 111, that occurred in December of 17 and September of 2018 for us. And those were required due to bills coming out of the 85th, the last legislative session. So our policies are up to date and meet our needs. I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding our annual investment report from 17-18. This is a report only item, so no action is required.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the report? No? Okay. Okay, thank you very much. That takes us to item J2. Consider adoption of the resolution stating the Board of Trustees has reviewed the district's investment policies and strategies. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. This is an action item here, and this is just that you've reviewed the district's investment policies and strategies. With any more information you need to add on that, I know it was in the last presentation. Is there anything you would like to add, Mr. Martindale?
No, sir.
It would be the administration's recommendation that you would approve the investment strategies and policies as presented.
I make the motion that we approve it as presented, so we don't have to read all the whereases on the formal policy.
Thank you for that motion.
Yeah.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. 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 All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Item J3. Consider approval of the purchase of network switches for Riverbend Elementary School from Avanex per the Department of Information Resources contract in the amount of $58,006 using 2015 bond funds. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Riverbend Elementary School is the 19th College Station ISD campus, the 10th elementary school, and we're looking forward to it being finished in the spring of 2019 and receiving kids in August of 2019. So as a part of building this facility, there's a number of purchases we need to make, and this one happens to be for network switches for our technology infrastructure. With more information is Mr. Martindale.
Thank you, Dr. Ely and board members. Technology Department has identified the network switches to accommodate the opening of Riverbend Elementary School. These switches are available from Avanex through the Department of Information Resources. The DIR contracts have been competitively bid and meet all bid requirements, so it would be administration's recommendation that the board approve the purchase of the network switches for Riverbend Elementary School from Avanex per the Department of Information Resources Contract 4160, and that would be in the amount of $58,006, and we would use 2015 bond funds for this purchase.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to abstain from discussion and voting on this matter.
I would move approval of this purchase as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Do you have any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0 with 1 abstention. Item J4, consider approval of request for proposal number 19-001, copier and managed print services to ImageNet compatible toner option for the estimated annual amount of $412,553.84, effective January 1st, 2019, and extending through December 31st, 2022. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. As you can imagine, a school district our size with 19 campuses and 13,000, almost 600 kids, nearly 1,000 teachers, we have the occasion to use copiers and printers quite a bit. So when these leases and agreements come up, it's very important for us to do our due diligence to find the very best value and best options for the entire school district to meet our printing and copier needs. We went through such a process this fall, and with the results of that and our ultimate recommendation to move forward with a contract being awarded to ImageNet, the compatible toner option. More information on that is Mike Martindale, our Deputy Superintendent and CFO. Mr. Martindale.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ely, Mr. Harris, and board members. Request for proposals 19001, copier and managed print services, was released and advertised according to Texas Education Code and Board Policy CH. The purpose of the published and advertised request for proposal was to identify one vendor to provide a management solution for both printers and copiers throughout the district. The RFP was mailed and posted on the district's website on September 20th and advertised in the local newspaper on September 17th and 24th. A pre-proposal meeting was held on September 28th and attended by 9 different vendors. Bidders were given the scope of work and had the opportunity to ask questions. Additionally, all vendors had an opportunity to submit questions for 1 week following the pre-bid meeting. Based upon all questions received, a comprehensive question and answer document was developed and made available to all vendors via an addendum issued on October 8th. Proposals were accepted from vendors until October the 16th at 2 p.m. 5 complete responses, including alternate bids, were received from 3 vendors. All 3 vendors submitting complete proposals were invited to interview with the district committee. In addition to this, there was 1 additional vendor invited that did not complete or did not submit a completed proposal. They were invited to interview with the district committee based upon prior work history with the district and proposal pricing. On October 22nd, the district committee, consisting of 10 professional and paraprofessional staff, met to hear presentations from vendors. Following the presentations to the district committee, references were obtained for vendors that were interviewed. All proposals submitted were scored according to Texas Education Code 44.031 criteria. The evaluation matrix consisted of price, reputation of vendor and vendor's goods and services, quality of goods and services, extent to which goods and services meet the district's need as defined in the RFP, vendor's past relationship with the district, and total long-term cost to the district, and the impact on the ability of the district to comply with laws and rules relating to historically underutilized businesses. The submitted proposals were scored individually by all 10 committee members and compiled to help determine a final recommendation. The ImageNet compatible toner proposal was the lowest priced complete proposal and had the highest score on the evaluation metrics. This, combined with presentations, interviews, and references, the committee recommended ImageNet compatible toner option as the best option for the district. Therefore, it's administration's recommendation that the board award request for proposal 19001, copier and manage print services to ImageNet, the compatible toner option, for an estimate annual amount of $412,553.84. This is effective January 1, 2019, and extends through December 31, 2022. apologize for the length, but a lot of folks worked very diligently to make sure our process was of great integrity.
Well, thank you for that. And given what I do and what I read on a day-to-day basis, I would say it was amazingly brief, so thank you. Any questions, comments?
I got a couple just curiosity questions. So this is doing all the copiers and printers on all the campuses?
Correct,
Facilities?
yes, and it incorporates our new campuses as well,
Just
coming aboard.
Just more curiosity. How many
How many?
machines is it? I mean,
Oh,
that's,
Lord, I'm going to look at Mr. Hutchinson because I have no idea.
I'm just trying to, in my mind,
40 copiers and 300 printers was the.
so have we had
response from
problems
the
in the
audience.
past with service or, I realize we're doing this for cost, but have we had issues in the past on service? Are they pretty prompt on meeting our needs to make sure that we're not down long?
I think there are always, with the number of campuses we have, there are always the possibility and some issues here and there, but I know they have been responsive when their needs arise. And I believe actually this particular price point is less than the one we have in place now, even though it's more campuses.
Just to remind the board that there's a matrix that that the committee went through, the 10-member committee went through, of which price was a component of that, and I believe Mr. Martindale was 44%.
40%, correct. of
So
the matrix.
56% of the evaluation matrix came from non-price related quality of goods and services and experiences.
To me, the thing that jumped out to me was that they had the highest total score on the matrix, but were also the lowest price complete proposal. That's a pretty good combination, so it's not always the case that those two go hand in hand, but I'm glad that
Correct.
at least the committee felt like it did.
I make the motion that we approve as presented, so we don't have to worry about this and do the maintenance and upkeep ourselves. I could not imagine keeping up with all that number of printers and copiers.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. And with that, we are adjourned.